Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, folks. We are back, M1 Racing and G-Force Racing for Season 5 of the G-Force Racing Elite League. It's been a little bit of a wait, but we are delighted to be back with you on another Wednesday evening here in the UK. Our first race of Season 5 is going to be up and running in just a few moments' time. As you can see in the top right corner of your screen, folks, that's the lobby, waiting for our drivers to come into there. We're expecting to have a relatively light grid for the first race of the season, and one of the reasons for that is our league owner, SS7, is sadly very unwell at the moment. So we wish SS7 all the very best, and they will be out racing with us next time out, we very much hope. But in SS7's absence, Obo has stepped in to host today's race for us, so they'll be bringing the drivers in as we eagerly anticipate the first race of the season. Before we talk about the first race of the season and the calendar ahead, let me remind you, if you haven't been with us through Season 4, how that ended up. We had a new champion with the G-Force Racing Elite League. Desaves, or Jakob as we'll now call them, is led the way very successfully from the middle part of Season 4 and finished with a huge haul of points, 195. Well clear of second place Goat Ghosty, who sadly couldn't be with us for as many races as I think they hope to be. But we've got our fingers crossed that Goat is going to be out with us for this season. M. Dorling finished there in third, and their teammate Obo, our host for this evening's race, finished in fourth. So very successful for Aston Martin in Season 4. Grazer, who only joined us about halfway through Season 4, very strong performances from them, finished in fifth. Our league owner there, SS7, on 102 points in sixth. Mac T in seventh, who we said goodbye to, at least in the interim. Mac T been with us for a very long while in G-Force Racing, one of the top drivers in the league, has stepped back to focus on real-world commitments, and we wish them well and do hope to see Mac T back in the future. Jaguar Paul finished in eighth. I think I saw Jaguar Paul on the register for today. One of my drivers of Season 4. Very consistent performances from them. Tom 1998, again I think Tom has stepped away from racing for a period of time, finished there in ninth on 77. Pankadelek on 71, and then a few other familiar names and some new ones to us in Season 4. Watch out for Emma Leckie in Season 5. They were really coming strong in the latter part of Season 4, and I can see them fighting for top honours this time around. As far as the constructors are concerned, Mercedes came home with 305 points, clear of the Aston Martin team on 231. So very successful season in Season 4 for Mercedes with G-Force Racing. Aston Martin there in second, just pipping McLaren to second spot in the constructors title. McLaren in third. Williams, very strong, I think throughout the season, very consistent drives from Jaguar Paul and Pankadelek through last season, 151 points for there. Obviously, there is no Alfa Romeo. That would be Sauber, largely helped by those points from Grazer, giving them 127. That was the top five from Season 4. All right, well, there's enough looking backwards. Let's look forward. And our calendar for Season 5 looks like this. We start round 1 in Japan, and I had to go back through the archives for G-Force Racing. The last time we were here properly for a competitive race that actually stood was in Season 1. So we'll talk a little bit more about the results from Season 1 as we get into qualifying and the race, but it's been a very long while since G-Force Racing has been here. There was a failed start to Season 4 some while back last year, where we did have a race in Japan, but the results of that never stood. So this is our first time back proper since Season 1. Then we head off to China. Again, not a track I don't think we've visited since Season 1. So we really are going back to the early days. Orlando in the Twitch chat, good to have you with us, and I appreciate the sentiment there. Good luck to all. Good luck and fast wheels to all. Absolutely, we do wish all of our drivers well here in for the first round of Season 5. And then we're looking forward after China to head out to Abu Dhabi, typically the final race of a F1 season. We're going there early in season 5. Then off to Zandvoort in the Netherlands for round 4. Then to my home in the UK, Silverstone, for what is usually proves to be one of the feature races of GeForce Racing. Well worth stopping with us on the 26th of March for that one. Then we head out to Miami for a sprint round, and I missed saying that Zandvoort is also a sprint round, so we've got a few sprints this season. Miami could be interesting, a favourite track for some, not so much for others. So it'll be interesting to see how we go in Miami. Then comes Spa in Belgium for round 7. Then out to Barcelona, just a few weeks before the real race in Barcelona. Then out to Imola in Italy for another sprint round, sprint after sprint, which is a request of the drivers to get a few more sprint rounds in season 5. So SS7 giving them their wishes. Then we go to Bahrain, which was the scene of the Commentators' Cup just a weekend or so ago. And then out to the US for the final 2 rounds of season 5 before we'll crown another champion of GeForce Racing. Will it be Jakob for 2 seasons in a row? Will we get a new name up there in the GFR Hall of Fame? There's plenty of drivers in the league who will have a shout for that title, no doubt about that at all. So we've got 6 drivers in the lobby at the moment. I'm expecting 2 or 3 more. I think we'll have about 9, maybe 10 drivers out there. And we're going to try a few different things on the stream over the next few races. This time around, we're streaming in hopefully higher quality. I'm attempting to try out OBS and Twitch's new variable streaming rates, so hopefully you'll get some higher definition graphics and visuals from us to go with the audio. And I've also got a new telemetry tool. So Team Telemetry seems to give me a little bit more insight compared to my previous one. So we're going to see how that one plays out. If any of you watching here use a particular telemetry tool for tracking teams and multiple drivers in one go that you'd recommend, do let me know in the Twitch chat. That would be great. But I do like to try out these various different tools, and hopefully allow me to give you a little bit more insight into the condition of cars, tyres, the weather predictions, what have you, just so we can keep you as informed as possible as we go through the racing here today. So as I mentioned, we were in Japan last time out in season 1, going back a good couple of years now. And we're on F1 23. Now, that was a race that actually started dry but ended up very, very wet. J-Repo was victorious on that particular day. J-Repo no longer driving with us, has moved on to bigger and better things, but they came home victorious on that day. Our championship winner from season 1, SHS Predestinato, came home second on their way to winning that season 1 championship. Joe Bean, who often stops by to say hello in the GeForce Racing Discord server since they left us, they finished 3rd. And M1 Righty, in their very first season, it was their very first race with GeForce Racing. They were fighting it out with MVRJ Repo for the first half of the race, but misjudged their pit stops, and sadly for them only finished in 4th. But that was only the start of things to come for M1 Righty, who then went on to win seasons 2 and 3 of GeForce Racing. So that was one way to announce yourself to the league. They also got fastest lap on that occasion as well. Emeleki came home in 5th last time out in Japan as well. So watch for Emeleki to go well there. And a special mention to David T, who is no longer driving with us on a Wednesday, but David came home in 7th that particular day, just in front of their teammate, Mr. Hannes, both driving for Haas on that occasion. Mr. Hannes, I believe, has signed up for season 5, so we look forward to having Mr. Hannes back with us before the season is out. And just bring that calendar back up for us. So after this first round here in Japan, we are going to be heading out to China, staying out east for the first 2 rounds of the GeForce Racing Elite League Season 5. So I think we're getting very close to being ready to go. Just waiting on, I think, Jacob Paul's just coming in, and Gio hopefully as well. one or two more now. One name to watch out for if you've got your eye on the lobby is Marcelinki. Marcelinki joined us in the off-season and won the Commentators' Cup. That was the first one to get their name on their hands on that particular cup. It's already in the GFR Hall of Fame. I've also had the pleasure of racing against them in another league, and they are very, very quick. Watch out for Marcelinki, possibly a potential favourite for GeForce Racing Season 5 Championship. We're also welcoming Spiralex as well for their very first outing here with us with GeForce Racing as well. A couple of other names I'll talk you through as we get out on track in a moment. Obo's game has just crashed, so we may have to just wait a moment. Yes, I see Obo's left us from their own lobby, so we may have to wait a moment or two for Obo to get back in, and we're probably going to have to start a new lobby, won't we? So and SS7 is watching along from their sick bed, so it's all happening here on the start of Season 5. But we've come to expect that, so bear with us, folks, and we'll be giving you some live racing. If you've never been with us before, the way that GeForce Racing works is we will have one period of qualifying of 18 minutes. Our drivers will get a chance to set their fastest time using whatever tyres they have available to them in the garage, and then we'll go straight into the race itself, which is set at 50%. So we'll get a 50% race around Japan. It's known for some weather in Japan, as we found out only too well in Season 1. So we'll look towards the skies once we get in to the race itself. I'm expecting us to be told to go and head into a new lobby unless we're inviting Obo back into their own one. Looks like Daddy Tonk or E36 Goat has taken charge of the lobby for the moment, whether they know that or not. That is where we're at the moment. And this is where it would be good to have some highlight reels, folks, wouldn't it? So I could play you those. Looking forward to bringing back Dorling's GFR Digest as we go through Season 5. M. Dorling will give us their thoughts on races that have just passed and the ones to come. Looks as though we are changing lobbies. So I'm going to put you folks on hold. Don't go anywhere at all, and we'll be back in just a moment with the race in Japan. So don't go anywhere, folks. We're going to shift lobbies, and I'll see you in just a moment. All right, folks, we're in a new lobby. That's a good sign. And we've got a couple of other drivers joining last minute as well. So while we wait for them, I think I'm going to try and head into one of the garages. Now, my thanks to Daddy Tong, E36 Goat, as we now know them, did mention that the McLaren garage was open for today. So we're going to head over there and have a quick chat with the new McLaren team ahead of this race in Japan and see if they'll have a quick chat with me. So if I've pressed all the right buttons, let me hit it in to the McLaren garage before we get underway and see if we can have a chat with the new McLaren team. E36 Goat, Spiral X, good to have you with us. How are you both? You well?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, Mark. How are you?
I'm very well. Now, first of all, I've got to welcome Spiral X. Welcome to G-Force Racing. Is this your very first race with us?
Yeah, actually, it's my first race.
Brilliant. How do you like Japan? Is it a good track for you?
Yeah, it's like in the mid class for me, I think.
All right. Well, we've now, Daddy Tom, got to ask you: Did you headhunt Spiral X for this team this season?
I did. Yes. Yes, I did.
Good for you. And how is Suzuka for you? One of your favourites?
One of my worst tracks, to be quite honest with you, Mark. I wasn't hoping for the first two races of the calendar, to be quite honest. But you know, at the end of the day, I mean, more practice. But I think I'll be better this season. I've done a lot of practice, and hopefully, I could put it into perspective.
Well, we've certainly seen you getting better and better in the races last season. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. McLaren a better car to drive than the Ferrari, or is this? Have you got an allegiance to McLaren, either of you?
I mean, McLaren is really my favourite team. So
good for you.
I mean, I tried for it last year, but obviously we had Goat Ghosty and Mac T. You know, and I was new to the league then, so I thought about, you know, just get a seat and go from there.
Absolutely. Well, you can't go much. You can't do much worse than filling the shoes of Mac T and Goat Ghosty. So they're pretty big shoes to fill. But we'll wish you well. So yeah. So well, go well today, both of you, and have a great race.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Now, that was a feature we introduced last season of going into some of the garages, which I think is really a nice idea from Obo. So I'm glad we were able to do that. I'm seeing Merge KD's in the driver's chat mentioning that this is probably one of their worst tracks. So they're not expecting to do as well as they did in Brazil. And Emerge was brilliant in Brazil, gave Jakob a real fight for victory there. So we'll see quite how that translates to performance out on track here today. Looks like I'm going to be on my own in the commentary box today. If you're with us for the first time and fancy coming and joining me as we commentate on a G-Force Racing League race, you'll be very welcome. Head over to the Discord server and sign up, and you could either go and drive, which will be great. We've got some seats available left for season 5, or you can come and be here on a Wednesday evening in the commentary box. Looks like we are readying up, ready to go. So I will see you the other side of this on the grid for the Japanese Grand Prix. Don't go anywhere, folks. On the inside of Cox, SS7 goes with them. It's wheel to wheel as we head down towards Vale. 3 cars wide coming down the strip. All right, folks, let's go racing. And here we are, folks, in the sunshine, it would look like, of Suzuka, which is a good sign. Certainly looking that way for qualifying, and that's what my new timing screen is telling me as well, which is excellent. So our drivers will be able to go flat out here and try and set their fastest time. Remember, just the fastest one is going to be on P1. We'll get it going to Gio, who is the first driver out, back with Williams for season 5. And I do hope the stream is looking quite as good as it looking on my screen. It looks very much cleaner than normal. So hopefully I've pressed the right buttons and we'll be able to give you a good visual experience here for the first round of season 5. Gio is going to be the first driver to set a time. We see Emerge KD's out on track as well, actually going pretty rapidly here. Get some temperature into those tyres. Both drivers trying to find out where they're going to position themselves on track. The Williams of Gio and the RB of Emerge KD's. Emerge was excellent in Brazil, as I was saying just a few moments ago. Ghosty is was in the session, has now gone again. So was there and not there. So we'll see if they do come. No, they've just gone from qualifying. So maybe it's a last to first for Go. But we will keep an eye on that. Oh, Go. One of the drivers will get you back in. I'm not sure what happened there. Yeah, last to first. David T, welcome for Go. What a way to start season 5, Go. Not what you intended, I'm sure. It retired you automatically. Oh, well, okay. Well, if anyone can come through the field, it definitely will be you. I'm going to ride on board with Emerge KD's as we look to get a first time on the board down the hill into turn 1. Turn 2 drifts away from our drivers as they look to get back on the power. And then now we've got to navigate the S-curves here of this famous track here in Suzuka. Through turns 3, 4, 5, 6, and now through 7. Accelerating up the hill. It's almost like it's got an adverse camber. Then through Degna 1, now into Degna 2. Lots of commitment required from our drivers through there. Then down into the hairpin of turn 11. Emerge will be the first driver to get a time on the board. They'll be setting the benchmark for everyone else to chase after. Back on the power for Emerge. We can see how much battery they're using following that orange bar on their steering wheel. Through turns 13 and 14. If you get this right, you can carry an awful lot of speed all the way down here into 130R. Get it wrong and you could lose best part of half a second. So looks like the RB has made its way through there, through 130R, flat out for our drivers. Then into the final chicane of 16 and 17. Seen of that infamous incident with Ayrton Senna many years ago. As Emerge comes over to set a 128.382. That is the benchmark for everybody else to get. Gio comes in with a 129.506, so they are on the board as well. I mentioned Emeleki in season 1, finished 5th here. Very good time from them in season 1. Gradually been improving through season 4, back towards the sharp end. Has been doing very well in the Ironman in recent races as well. Will be expected to go pretty well here. Emil very much settled with their Red Bull now. I wonder if Emil has backed out. They've definitely used a whole bunch of battery. Very little left now. Lots and lots of cars ahead of them. Little bit of a lock up into the chicane. We'll see some overtakes into there for sure. As Emil comes over the start-finish line with a 128.699. Not a million miles away from Emerge, so a good early time. Obviously our drivers will be back out again at least one more time. Very long track here in Suzuka, 5.8 kilometers long, so our drivers need to factor that in terms of how many laps they do. These soft tires will really only give them one good qualifying lap. We may see one or two drivers go a couple of times as Emil is perhaps pushing pretty hard to get back round there. Spiralex is on the board, 128.854. We spoke to them in the McLaren garage just before the race the qualifying got underway, and that's not a bad initial time. Jaguar Paul here with a 129.014. Obo's got a 129.236. We saw Gio get that 129.506. And E36 Scope with a 129.521. M. Dorling. Watch out for M. Dorling in Season 5. A genuine potential title challenger for them and Aston Martin. But keep an eye on how well M. Dorling does. Looks as though they're just building up. Oh no, they are on a fly here. Very tricky to tell as we're going to come into the final chicane. Big chunk of curb from M. Dorling, both at 15 and 16, riding the curb on the exit of 16. Back on the power, DRS open for the last little dash of 128.671. Emerged, has a very good time on the board very early. Now our championship victor from Season 4, Jakub Plotska, has really built through season after season here at G-Force Racing, and they will have a target on their back in Season 5. This is the driver to beat. They're without their teammate of SS7 this time around, so they've got to do it all on their own for Mercedes. No one else is going to get this team any points. Saw from a driver's chat message earlier that Jakub, I think, was not having the best of time in practice around Suzuka, so we'll see how that converts into actual time in just a moment. But Jakub gets a 128.186 provisional pole position for the Mercedes driver, continuing their form from last season. Well done, Jakub. That's the target to beat now. Looks as though, well, Goat is not going to get a time on the board, of course. That's Goat Ghosty. Marcel Linky is sitting there in the pits, not coming out at this point. They're perhaps keeping their powder dry to later in the session. We've got 10 minutes left of qualifying here to go. Here is Marcel Linky. So Marcel Linky is out. As I mentioned, they were victorious in the Commentators' Cup. If you weren't with us for that, do go and watch the replay. It's on my YouTube channel, and I think still on Twitch just for a few more days. Well worth a watch. It was a lot of fun. For the Commentators' Cup, it was a 50% race. I was on pole as the commentator, as you can imagine. There was no qualifying, and the grid was reverse order based on finishing positions in Season 4. So we had Jakub and Goat Ghosty and others trying to make their way through from the back of the grid, and I was also in control of the weather. It started wet, it dried up, and it got very wet at the end as well. And Marcel Linky was victorious in that one. No one really got close to them, including Goat Ghosty. And do watch out for Goat. There are also another potential Season 5 champion. And I said that you will see the racing will be very, very close. So even though we've only got 11 drivers out there, watch for some incredibly close racing here today. So we're going to ride on board for Marcel Linky's debut qualifying lap with the G-Force Racing Elite League. Let's see what they can do. This team of Marcel Linky and Emil is going to be one to watch out for. Could the Constructors' Championship go to Red Bull this year? We will see. Into turn 1. Now around turn 2. So back into that Red Bull, wants to get away from Marcel Linky. In through 3. Trying to balance the throttle. Quite a wide apex there from Marcel Linky. Then through 6, we're going to come round to the tricky turn 7 where our drivers will try and plant the throttle, but the back end will step out if we get on those curves. We're heading off into the gravel, but Marcel Linky navigates that well. Full commitment through Degner 1, then braking for turn 2, and there, that Degner 2 is going to catch a few out, and the back end of the RB steps out, and that's going to damage Marcel Linky's time quite a lot. So we might see Marcel Linky back out. Indeed, I think they are doing just that. Let me bring up the track map so we can see where our drivers are. It's going to get busy as we head towards the latter stages of qualifying here. They don't get another chance after this. This is going to set the grid for the race. I can see Goats mentioned in the Twitch chat. I've only just caught that at the corner of my eye. They've gone off to practice for a bit. So watch for a fired up Goat Ghosty when we get into the race itself in 7.5 minutes time. Who else is out there? Here is Obo. Well, we may as well bring up the additional telemetry data. Not for that one. Everyone is on softs. That's the one I wanted. So, can Obo improve on that 129.236? They're giving it a very, very good go here. It's going to be close. Indeed they do, but half a second, not as close as I thought. So, Obo moves up into provisional fifth. 128.726 finds half a second of additional time there. So, our drivers starting to improve. Has M. Dorling gone again? Is this them starting their lap? I think they are just starting their lap. Let's ride on board with M. Dorling as we come through sector 1. Oh, and that's that. There are the curbs here around Suzuka, playing absolute havoc with our drivers. If you don't treat them with respect, they will spin your car around. So M. Dorling has to back out of that lap. If they've got enough fuel, they will be able to go again. I know they'll look to preserve those tyres. Emerge KDs is on another lap and was improving very, very slightly, but just 5 hundredths of a second slower than their previous time. So does not improve on that 128.382. Stays in provisional second. Spiralex. So let's give Spiralex some airtime. So as we were saying to Spiralex and E36 Go in the pre-race chat, they've got some very big shoes to fill in this McLaren team, with Mac T and Goat Ghosty moving on either to different teams or somewhere else entirely. So McLaren have got their hopes pinned on a new drivers lineup. As there's a car going through gravel in the background we saw. Let's ride on board with Spiralex as we see if they can improve on that 128.854. We've got 5 minutes of qualifying left to go. Not long to try again if you get this one wrong. Pressure is on for our drivers now as they look to move up the grid for the start of this first race. With 11 drivers lining up, there'll be points on offer for pretty much everyone. So you want to finish this race to get on the board. Spiralex accelerating out of turn 7 into the Degners. They are 2.5 tenths up. It's going well in the early stages of this lap for Spiralex. Heading down towards the hairpin of turn 11. We may see the odd overtake manoeuvre. There's the back end of the McLaren steps out as Spiralex gets on to the power. Trying to take the shortest line on the inside, but it's very bumpy there depending on how low you've got your car sat. Nice line from Spiralex through 13 and 14, spoon curve, back on the power, down the hill, and then we're going to blast up to 130R. Flat out for our drivers. Upwards of 200 miles an hour through here. Don't want to scrub off any speed at all until we get to the chicane. Riding the curb on the exit. Nice tight line towards the start-finish line. Spiralex improves by 1.5 tenths. Moves up into provisional fifth. Shifts Obo down. It's all going to happen now. Let's get on board with Jaguar Port as they look to improve on a 129 dead. We do see a couple of drivers dashing into the pits one more time to get. Looks as though Jaguar Port is not pushing at this point, so they are not setting a time yet. We'll come back to Jaguar Port. I think M. Dorling has invalidated at this point, so whether or not this could be their warm-up lap, let's see if they stay out and go one more time. This will be M. Dorling's last chance to get a lap unless they've got enough time for a splash and dash. We don't often see in F1 these days. Oh, M. Dorling is in, so a quick burst of fuel before they go again. If you carry too much fuel, you can lose good 2 or 3 tenths a lap here. So M. Dorling looking to push it to the edge of time. So is Jaguar Port going to go? Yeah, this will be their lap. So they're just coming around one last time. And I'll line this Williams up for a blast around the Suzuka circuit. Trying to get a little bit closer and perhaps hopefully ahead of Obo and Spiralex and maybe even M. Dorling. Yeah, one thing to watch out for with Jaguar Port is they're very consistent through a race. So qualifying is not just the defining moment for Jaguar Port. They can go very, very well and know how to read a race. So they'll just be looking to be in the mix here. We come through the S-curves. We're going to be heading up towards the Degners in just a moment. Degner 1, our drivers will probably look to straight line as much as they can, and then the braking into turn 9. Going to keep an eye on the timing screen, see if Jaguar Pour is improving in Sector 2 as they brake for the hairpin. Guide the car around as they want to get on the power as early as possible, but that Williams is not obeying. Get a touch of oversteer on the exit. Coming up towards Spoon Curve now. And then onto the really long straight, heading down towards 130R. We're going to cross the Sector 2 timing beam in just a moment. And Jaguar Pour is nearly half a second up on their previous time. That's going to put them in the range of Emerge KDs and M Dorling at this point. So Jaguar Pour going well on what will almost certainly be their final qualifying lap. And Jaguar Pour does indeed move it up into fourth with 128.602. A number of drivers now out on their out laps. They've got 1 and a bit minutes to get round over that start finish line to start their lap. As long as they start the lap before the time runs out, their next lap will count. So it's Gio now looking to improve on that 129.307. Can they do the same job that their teammate of Jaguar Pour has done? They'll need a good half a second or so to worry those in front of them. But Gio, I think, does have pace. If they can hook one of these laps up, they may well be able to do some damage. Navigating this straight here is very tricky. It's very, very bumpy on the left-hand side of the circuit. And Gio is indeed a second down on their previous time. So sadly for Gio, they are not going to be shifting away from there. Marcelinki is going again, coming through Sector 1. Up the hill through turn 7 and then 8. Into the Degners here. 2.5 tenths up for Marcelinki. They're going to need to put a little bit more time than that in if they're going to trouble those in front of them. Maybe Japan is not the track for them as they lock up into the hairpin for turn 11. What we haven't seen, of course, folks, is the weather forecast for the race. So if we've got the potential of some rain coming, some of our drivers may be on some form of wet setup. Once a setup is dialed in qualifying, they cannot change it other than a little bit of front wing. So it's we'll see what my timing screen shows when we actually get into the race itself. Sunny and dry here as Jakob goes faster again, 127.699. Jakob has got pace once again, laying down a marker for the start of Season 5 here. As Marcelinki comes over the start-finish line and does indeed improve a 127.984. That's a huge improvement on their previous time, but not enough to unseat Jakob on pole position at the moment. Emil has invalidated if this is a quick lap. And I see, Goat, your question in the Twitch chat. I'd suggest putting that in the driver's chat, my friend, just so that Obo and the rest of the drivers can see it. It would seem to make sense if you've been locked in on a setup. I'm sure they'll be understanding that. But put that message into the driver's chat on Discord, and hopefully that will be looked at for you. So Jakob is going to be in pole position. Emil does not improve, but Spiral X did, and they stole third place in qualifying there. We'll get the final classification in just a moment. So here we go. Jakob is on pole for the first race of Season 5. Marcelinki there after a cracking final qualifying lap, 127.984 on second alongside Jakob on the front row. Then comes Spiralex. What a way to announce yourself to the G-Force Racing League in third. Emil alongside them. Then comes Obo in fifth and Emerge KDs in sixth. Jaguar Pour in seventh. M Dorling down there in 8th, not great from them. Geo alongside E36 Go. And obviously we saw the troubles for Goat Ghosty there, unable to qualify, will be starting at the back of the grid. So we'll see if we get invited into a new lobby or not. We will wait and see. We could be going racing straight away. We may not be. So we may get 2 starts. We'll see. We don't get a formation lap here, folks. So when you see the drivers lined up on the grid, we'll get 5 lights and we will be racing. So it's nice and sunny here in the pit lane, it would seem. My timing screen has not changed yet because the game hasn't loaded in that race just yet, so we'll keep an eye on whatever that may tell us. So just keeping an eye on the driver's chat, folks, just in case we do get a new lobby, which has happened from time to time. Yeah, Mo's telling me in the driver's chat that they invalidated, so didn't get the time they were hoping for. But it's a very, very good start to Season 5 for Jakub. They could easily disappear off into the distance with that kind of pace. Well, we've got 5 lights on. All right, for now at least, folks, we are going racing for round 1 of the G-Force Racing Elite League from here in Suzuka. We have got underway. It looks as though Goat has got away with them. We just don't know what setup Goat has got. They would have found out pretty quickly going into turn 1. So Jakub has led us away. Marcelinki held on to second place through those first few corners. Then comes Spiralex. Emeleki, it's pretty much as you were. Yeah, Goat, it doesn't look as though Obo saw it. So, sadly, we have got underway here. Do the best you can. You've got the talent for sure. We have a yellow flag and a virtual safety car on lap 1 already. So, collision there, if this is to be believed, between an Aston Martin, it would seem, and a Williams at the back. Oh, that looks like that might well be M. Dorling. Struggling towards the back of the grid, indeed missing somewhat a big chunk of that Aston Martin front wing. So not a good start for M. Dorling here in Japan. So we're under virtual safety car conditions, so our drivers will not bunch up. They will drive to a delta, but of course, so early on in this race. Our drivers are not spread out at all at this point. All of our drivers are still going. So it does look as though M. Dorling is getting very close to the Red Bull there of Emil. Do we see M. Dorling dive into the pits? Indeed we do. I wonder if that VSC will clear pretty quickly. As Jaguar Port also goes in. So it must have been a coming together between Jaguar Port and M. Dorling that caused that to happen. The VSC is still out. So quite a long hold on the VSC. Maybe there's a fair bit of debris, unless we've actually got the safety car coming out. But, yeah, speeding under the pit lane. So apologies, folks. Emerge KD's picking up a penalty there for speeding under the VSC conditions. 10-second penalty for Goat Ghosty for ignoring yellow flags. A bit chaotic here at the start of this race here in Japan. Spiralex has now moved up into second place, and Obo has gone with them, although Obo is carrying a penalty. I imagine the FIA, David T, if you are watching along, we might be busy a little bit later on, try and pick the bones out of this one. The Spiralex up into second. Obo carrying a penalty. We'll bring the penalties up just to see what those are. Drive through for Obo. Oh my word. So the VSC really catching out some of our drivers here. So drive through for Obo, drive through for Emerge KDs and for Emeleki. 10 seconds for Goat Ghosty as well. So it's all happening here in the early stages. I'll put the tyres on the screen so we can get a sense of what our drivers are on. The front runners, the front 4, all on medium tyres, and a mixture elsewhere. So Emerge on hards, as for E36 Go, and Emil and M. Dorling. Or M. Dorling obviously been in for a pit already to repair that front nose, as has Jaguar also. That's probably not worked out for Jaguar at this stage in the race, but a safety car will bring these drivers back into play. So Spirax is really giving Jakob a hard time at the front of this race. Let's ride on board with Spirax. They've got some pace in the early stages here. Obo has not pitted yet to clear that drive-through. They only have 3 laps to do that before they get a very significant penalty. So Obo, we will see heading into the pits, I'm sure. Pretty quickly, that's a late break from Spirax. Misjudged that completely into the back of Jakob. The McLaren driver loses it momentarily there. Looks as though everyone's probably come out unscathed from that, but that's promoted Obo on track into second place. Spiralek has to drop back in as a result of that. Marcelinki biding their time there in fourth. Emerge KD's now back in fifth. We do have a yellow flag just coming out of Spoon Curve. I think that was that Gio? Indeed it was. So Gio having a moment there coming to a Spoon. So, and here comes Ghosty, looking to get on the back of this train of cars, but may well be on a very different setup than one that they were hoping for. Obo sets the fastest lap of the race so far, 131.448. Those times will come down as this race goes further and further. Okay, you're an AI, are you? Okay. Well, it's going very, very well. Going very well. Jakob leads the way on lap 4 from Obo in second. But remember, Obo has that drive-through. Then comes Marcelinki in third now, with Spirax now having dropped down. Marcelinki is outside the range of DRS. Just the one DRS zone here in Suzuka, which is down the start-finish straight. But plenty of opportunities still to overtake here in Japan. So Spirax may have picked up a little bit of damage. I'm going to see if I get any sense of that on my new bit of kit. But no, nothing to speak about there. It looks as though the tyres are getting a little bit warm for Spirax. That's one thing for sure. E36 Go up into fifth. It's going well for them at this stage in the race on those hard tyres. 4 and a bit seconds back from their teammate. But probably in a decent spot on those hard tyres. Dio now 4 seconds back from E36 Go in the Williams there. Then comes Emerge KDs, who's now through on Ghosty, up into 7th place. So the 2 RBs line astern here as we head down to 130R, unless this is Goat coming back at Marcelinki, at Emerge KDs here as we head through 130R into the chicane. Emil had a pretty tough start to this race, so they're now down in 9th. On those hard tyres, Emil's typical hard tyre strategy always starts on hards. I cannot really recall a race where they started on any other tyre compound unless it's been raining. Jaguar doing their best to recover and is getting closer and closer to Emil here. So looking as though they're getting back into play, and of course the safety car will mix things right up. Then M. Dorling, after a pretty tough start for them down there in 11th. Let's get back up to the front where Marcelinki has now got through on Spiralex and is hunting down a championship winner from season 4 in the shape of Jakob. So it's going to be Red Bull against Mercedes. We're on lap 5 of 27. A long way for us to go yet in this race. A lot to play out. It looks as though it's going to stay dry throughout the race, so no sign of rain on the forecast at all. But the RB of Marcelinki going great guns in the early stages here, and as these two have dropped Spiralex from the front of this race, so it's Marcelinki in the range of DRS. They come past the start-finish straight. Jakob moves to defend on the inside. Will Marcel go around the outside? They do indeed. The RB sweeps around the outside of the Mercedes and takes the lead of this race. Back end of the Mercedes stepping out as they come through turn 2. And now Jakob will be in the dirty air of the Red Bull as they head through the S-curves. up towards the Degmas. So Jakob will have their work cut out now to stay with the fast-charging Marcelinki. If they can stay with the range of DRS, that will be a cracking battle for us to keep an eye on as we move into the second half of this race. Remember, no planned pit stops for any of our drivers, but one of two have already been in. Looks as though all the drive-throughs, etc., have now been cleared. Obo has been in and cleared that. Obviously, they won't be able to stop for new tyres through that. That's dropped Obo back into sixth. They were in second when they had to come in. So one stop for Jaguar Paul, one stop for M. Dorling. Everyone else has yet to make their mandatory pit stop. And it's just Goat Ghosty carrying those 10 seconds. As we're on lap 6 now. Marcelinki leading the way, but Jakob staying with the Red Bull. And Spiralex staying within 2 seconds of Jakob. Looking to try and close that down if they can. We could certainly see the Mercedes in the distance from Spiralex's cockpit here. As Jakob steps out and goes round Marcelinki and retakes the lead of this race. Now, whether these two drivers in P1 and 2 will work together, try and stretch out that gap on the McLaren, or whether or not them fighting will actually help Spiralex get closer and closer. That is quite wide from Spiralex, and they will be compromised through turn 7 there. And we'll have to be careful on that huge chunk of curve you see going through Degner. That was full-on commitment from Spiralex there, desperately trying to hunt down Marcelinki and Jakob in front of them. A cloud of tyre smoke from Marcelinki and Jakob there, and Spiralex hanging on in third, but under no challenge from their teammate of E36 Goat, who's pretty much cemented themselves in fourth place here. Gio trying to close that gap down. 2.7 seconds between Gio and E36 Goat. We'll keep an eye on that. Obo, of course, is looking to recover from that drive-through. He's currently in sixth and is closing in on Gio. Obo's last lap was a 132.324, just 3/10 quicker than Gio in front of them. Best lap so far is a 131 dead, set by Marcelinki. We will be in the 130s as soon as our drivers get onto brand new tyres, or indeed heading into the 129s. As Marcelinki moves back into the lead once more, that DRS helping Marcelinki and Jakob really start to stretch out their lead on Spiralex in third. That gap out to 3 seconds now. Merge KDs down in 7th place. Currently our drivers really spread out in this Japanese Grand Prix after some early chaos on the opening laps. And medium runners will be starting to think about pit stops. These hards will probably go to the end of the race whatever time you pit onto them. I don't envisage 2 stops here for our drivers today. We will certainly be surprised, other than for M. Dorling and for Jaguar Paul having pitted very, very early on. Although I could easily see M. Dorling taking those hards all the way to the end of the race. They'll have next to no grip at all come that time. But it might be worth a shot and may allow them to recover some lost ground. Emil here in 8th. Again, our drivers spread out. 3.5 seconds back from emerge. And 4 seconds clear of Jaguar Paul here in 9th. Then Goat Ghosty. I'm not quite sure if Goat is actually driving this or that's the AI at this point. But Goat is probably not had the best of starts to their Season 5, thanks largely to the game, I suspect. Yes, indeed. Goat is going backwards, and that is the game doing just that. We are back to the front with Jakob and Marcelinki trading blows here at the front. One not being able to get away from the other. It really comes down to who is going to blink first. Will it be Jakob or will it be Marcelinki? There'll be a huge undercut available to whoever does go in first. That extra grip will give them at least a second a lap quicker tyres, and over such a long lap that we have here in Suzuka will allow either the person in the lead to stretch that lead or the one behind to leapfrog Do not be surprised to see the second place person go in, or them both to follow each other at the same time. Who is going to blink first? Spirax unable to keep up with Jakob and Marcelinki, but has really stretched out that gap on their teammate. So a very good start for them in Season 5. Let's get down to Gio, who is now onto the rear of E36 Goat. So Gio is building into this race quite nicely for them and for Williams. On the rear end, we may get some overtaking action here on lap 9. Touch onto the grass from Gio. Won't give them the best of grip on those aging medium tyres. We break into the chicane. A little bit of a lock-up from the Williams. E36 guides their McLaren through. We follow in the Williams as we enter the DRS zone down the start-finish straight. The start turn 10. Gio drops back a little bit. Good exit from E36 Go. Stretches out a bit of a gap. We head down through 1, then 2. Quite a wide line from Gio, but you can do that through there and carry a fair amount of speed. Gio staying well clear of the curbs. We saw what that can do for a car around here, particularly if you're running very stiff. Suspension will be spinning around in no time at all. We get back on the power, dancing with the curbs on the outside, then back onto the inside. Big chunk of curb, as we see a lot of our drivers do through Degner 1, under the bridge on the exit of Degner 2, then into the hairpin. E36 managing to keep Gio at bay. And remember, these 9-lap-old mediums will have nowhere near as much grip as E36 Goat will have on those 9-lap-old hard tyres in front of them. And I wonder if Gio might think about the undercut here and get off of those mediums, but they are certainly being pulled along by the McLaren, but unable to get close enough to make a move just yet. And we see Obo in the background also looking to try and get involved in this action to take 4th place. Spirax now nearly 9 seconds back from Marcelinki and Jakob, who are clearly fighting it out for victory here for the first race of Season 5. Now Gio is much closer to the McLaren. Do they look to go around the outside, as we've seen many of our drivers attempt here today? Not an opportunity there, but they are very, very close to the rear end of E36 Goat here on lap 11. It'll get trickier through these S-curves in that dirty area of the McLaren in front. They won't have anywhere near the grip that they would prefer at this point, but Gio hanging on nicely to the back of the McLaren. Obo still 4.7 seconds back, so they're not able to close in just yet. The gap between Obo and Emerge KD's 3.5 seconds. And I'll see if I can get a clue from... I move down to Emerge KD's. And indeed, Emerge is closing in on Obo pretty nicely at this point. The gap was closing up, so we'll keep an eye on Emerge. All of these hard runners will go as long as they possibly can, probably hoping for a safety car more towards the end, then get on some soft tyres potentially. But they do not want a safety car until well into the second half of the race here. It'll give those who've pitted early a second decision to make. Marcelinki and Jakob still trading blows at the front. Jakob back into the lead of this race on lap 12. But very much continuing to stretch away from Spirax and E36 Goat. Gio not able to find a way through. Get back down to Jaguar Paul here, who's obviously had one pit stop already. Will almost certainly be having to come in again, get off of those medium tyres and get on something to take them to the end of the race. M. Dorling really struggling there, it would seem right now. It's nearly 7 seconds back from Jaguar Paul, and obviously Goat now on the AI, well out of contention. We'll get back to E36 Goat and Gio, which has got very, very close here. Gio is going for it. That's a brave move. Through turn 10. No way through. Couldn't make it work. And E36 Goat gets back up through and retains their 4th place. So Gio trying to go around the outside of the hairpin was always going to be a brave move. Not able to make that work. E36 retains that 4th place, but it looks like only a matter of time as Gio will be able to get on the battery, on the power, as we fast approach the rear end of the McLaren. Looks as though Gio's got lots of pace, but has to back off through 130R. They're just carrying too much speed. That compromises them on the run into the hairpin, but E36 Goat goes deep into the hairpin, puts Gio back on their rear end, giving Gio another opportunity. You've got a front row seat for this one, folks, as Gio goes through on the inside of E36 Goat and up into 4th place. Good move from from Gio, and they take the place away from E36. So those hard tyres not looking like a lot of fun for the McLaren driver, and Williams up into 4th. Now, of course, with the absence of a safety car, we won't be going into any of the garages during this race. I don't want to be disturbing any of our drivers at all, because there's a lot to think about, particularly strategy-wise, as we get into the latter stages. Gio has not blasted away from E36 Goat. The McLaren hanging on to the rear end pretty ably, it would seem here. It has brought Obo into play, that gap down to 3 seconds, and I mentioned that Emerge KDs was indeed closing in on Obo. That's down to 2.5 seconds as well. So we're going to have potentially 4 cars here fighting on as we approach lap 14. And it does look like Gio does have some damage. Yeah, their front wing, that left end plate, has gone from the Williams. So some damage being carried by the Williams driver, which will be compromising them massively round this track, which is a real track requiring balance. And as we see Gio go in, does Gio go for a new front wing? We'll stay with them here to see if the pit crew are out. We see a number of pit stops. Jakob is in, Marcelinki's come in at the same time, I think. Yeah, so our front runners are in. E36 Goat actually takes the lead of this race, and Gio's not changed their front wing, so they're going to be carrying that to the end of the race. That's going to compromise them massively. Obo's taking the opportunity to pit, and they are onto brand new medium tyres as well. That's the ghosting as E36 Goat leads a lap here of the GeForce Racing Elite League. Obviously has to pit, yeah. They are 13 laps in on those hard tyres. Jakob is onto those new hard tyres. I wonder if Jakob and Marcelinki had some kind of issue of some description. So Marcelinki has dropped back quite a long way from Jakob on their pit stop. So something happened to Marcelinki. If any of you watching on the stream saw that and had a better idea of that than me, do let me know. But yeah, Marcelinki has lost out from that round of pit stops. Jakob and Marcelinki going in at the same time. Emerge KD's now in 3rd, looking to do their best at least to get on to the rear end of Jakob. That will do them no harm at all. There is Marcelinki. Don't see any damage at all, so whether or not they just misjudged something coming in to the pits, we will have to wait for an update from the drivers chat at some point later on, or if I watch back on the stream later, which I'd encourage you all to do, not just for this race but other races from GeForce Racing. They're all available from season 1 right up to present day on my YouTube channel. There's a link on the Twitch channel. Please do stop by there, hit the subscribe button, and we'll let you know whenever there's a new feed available for you to watch. So we'll keep an eye on Marcelinki as they get into range of Emerge KDs. Jakob is leading the way now. Emelecki in 4th, having yet to pit. Spiralex has come out in 5th. Then comes Gio, 5 seconds back from Spiralex. Then Obo on some brand new medium tyres, looking to leverage that extra grip of the mediums to try and get closer to Gio. E36 Goat has come in. They're onto brand new mediums as well. This could look like a good finish for E36 Goat. Watch for them on very grippy mediums. Then comes M. Dorling, going to be taking those hards, I think, all the way to the end of this race. This is probably a race of purgatory for M. Dorling and the Aston Martin team right now, or certainly that side of the garage. Jaguar Paul has decided to pit one more time, get onto some mediums, but has 14 seconds to make up to M. Dorling in front of them. All of these drivers are going to get points now. Our top 10 will be getting points here, which will at least get them on the board for the start of season 5. Jakob, 3.5 seconds clear of Marcel Linky. I would love to know what happened to Marcel to cause them to be so far back when Jakob and Marcel were pretty much just swapping places at the front. Obo sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:30.275. We're nearly into the 1:29s. Emil, 15 laps in on those hard tyres. He's going to be lightning towards the end of this race, but they've got a lot of cars that are going to pass them towards the end here. So Emil's going to have it all to do, but they'll have so much grip. Then comes Spiralex, who is gradually getting closer and closer to Emil. Just under 4 seconds back from them. There's Obo, 4 seconds adrift of Spiralex. And Gio is under all sorts of pressure now from E36 Goat. So battle resumed between the McLaren and the Williams drivers here. There's a lock up on those hards. Not quite up to temperature yet, it would seem, for the Williams. That brings E36 Goat ever closer to the rear end of that Williams. So, and we've got a yellow flag. That is M. Dorling, I think. It is M. Dorling. Crabbing, it would seem, at the side of the track here, going from bad to worse for the Aston Martin. They are back up and running. We do have a safety car. Oh, my word. We thought one might eventually come, and we have got it. So, Marcel goes through. Those hard tyres are probably too new to consider changing, given that they seem to have some kind of trouble. I think they've decided, yeah, they will hold station, and the lead of this race has to brake as the safety car will pick them up and lead them away. Pretty much has to come to a standstill, so the safety car needs to get moving. Spiralex now assumes second place. Again, 3-lap-old hards, and Gio will now be in third. Jakob has pitted on to brand new mediums, but they're going to have to make their way through 3 drivers in front of them. Emerge KDs. I had just pitted, I think. So timing is just 1 lap too late for Emerge, sadly for them. Emil that's really played into the hands of Emil. So Emil, as we were just saying, was going to lose a whole bunch of positions. That safety car came at the perfect time. 10 laps to go. And watch for Emil on those mediums will be rapid. Obo's onto brand new hards as they look to join the back of the safety car. Q, Jaguar Paul has stayed out. E36 Goat decides brand new mediums for them. And M. Dorling has done exactly the same, but clearly would have picked up some damage, I would have thought. Nothing showing now, so any damage that was picked up has been corrected, but that accident has created this safety car on lap 17. So we've our cars now all joining up behind the safety car here. We may go one more lap to allow M. Dorling to join the back of this train. Marcel Linky will lead us away, then Spiralex, then Gio. Let's see if Gio actually took the opportunity. No, they are still carrying that damage on the front wing. So they're going to be a sitting duck, sadly, I fear, as we get back under racing conditions. There will be one more lap under the safety car. For sure, we can monitor the progress of M. Dorling as they head up towards 130R to join the back of this train of cars. Obo retaining fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:30.275. The fastest lap this season is still going to get our drivers an extra point. Obviously in the real world that fastest lap point is going away. But currently in this game we are still going to get an extra point for fastest lap. I'll scroll through the cars here. Let's go into one of the garages very briefly. I wonder if this is a good time to go and speak to the Aston Martins. They are there.
And that's why he then came
say,
straight across everyone.
We'll say a very
Hello,
quick
Mark.
hi.
Oh, God.
Yeah, sorry guys, but Matt, I've got to ask, what's happened? Can you? we saw you
lap
in the
one
grass.
Did me over. So I think Emil went off track, half spun, and then Emerge KD's has then half spun. So I ended up with no wing, and I've got a severely damaged floor currently.
Oh.
And the spin was me looking at my phone.
Well, they do say that, don't they? Here in the UK, at least, you shouldn't look at your phone whilst driving. There we go. All right, Obo, how's it going for you? You had that drive-through, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, honestly, that first sector through that safety car, it fluctuated between like neutral, like normal time, up to like half a second. So I sped up, and then suddenly I was in the red, and it just, it gave me a drive-through. And then I wasn't really thinking about you can't change your tires during a drive-through, so I changed my tires to mediums, which meant I pitted twice. I pitted when I did eventually pit. I had mediums twice.
Well, I see.
So the safety car has helped me.
Yes, well, it has, and I can see it's just coming in. So I'm going to leave you guys to focus on the restart. But thanks for talking to me. Might catch you a bit later.
Enjoy.
Thanks, Mark.
See ya. All right, we are going to go racing one more time. We're going to start lap 19. Marcel is going to lead us away. When does Marcel go? They are going now, and Spiralex has really judged that pretty perfectly. Jakob looking to get through on Gio as early as they can, with Gio carrying that front wing damage. Gio looks to go around the outside. That was a brave move. Spiralex holding the inside of turn 2. And Jakob now with much better grip on those. Oh, and Gio pushes Jakob onto the grass. So it was very difficult to see how much room was available there. But Jakob pushed right down now into P9. So Spiralex holds on to second. Gio there in third. And with that ailing front wing of the Williams dropping back very, very quickly into the clutches of Emerge KDs and Obo. And a 3-second time penalty for Gio for track limits. So Obo now trying to look for a way through on Gio and Emerge KDs. Looks as though Emerge has got a good exit, but so is Gio. They're hanging on there. Spiralex has had a moment as well. They were ghosting there. So Spiralex drops back into fourth, giving an extra obstacle. And Spiralex having all sorts of problems in their McLaren at this point. So it's all gone from bad to worse for the McLaren of Spiralex. Gio desperately defending from the RB in front, and that's I think a bit too aggressive there from Gio, but all drivers come out of that unscathed at least. But Obo took real advantage of that through on Emerge KDs, and Obo now on the rear end of Gio as DRS is enabled but not available for the Aston Martin to use, as Emerge now looks to try and get back through on Obo. Well, the safety car is giving us an enormous amount of action here, as Obo now has the inside of Gio, and Gio, very aggressive defending from Gio, and that's caught both Gio and I think that was sorry folks, I've lost exactly who that was. That was Gio and Emerge KD. So Emerge KDs has left, I think, are probably in frustration. Very aggressive defending from Gio there, and Jaguar Paul has to avoid their own teammate here. So Gio, a bit of a roadblock it would seem at the moment, with cars queuing up. Gio was off in the background, apologies. That was Jaguar Paul getting through. Well, it's certainly bunched our drivers up here and given us some wheel-to-wheel action. I think the Mercedes of Jakob banging wheels with the McLaren of Spiralex. And also E36 goat. So E36 on soft tyres here. Very aggressive pit stop strategy from them. We'll have all sorts of grip, but it looks as though Jakob has got some pretty decent grip of their own. As E36 go, we see their battery blinking there as they're trying to get some battery charge into that McLaren. We've got a group of 5 cars here trying to find a way through. Jaguar has taken real advantage of that, up into third place. The front wing of Spiralex missing a piece, as they've been battling with others. Perhaps that's the reason why Spiralex was dropping down, and that's M. Dorling now coming through on Spiralex. So Spiralex, sadly for them, going backwards, has had a bit of a tough time. E36 Goat picking up a 3-second time penalty. Sadly, that's going to hurt them at the end of this race. We don't have long to go now. We're on lap 21 of 27. And Jakob now trying to find a way through on E36 Go. E36 Go doing their best to try and hang on to Jaguar, who's really taken advantage of all the shenanigans going on over the last couple of laps and is into a podium position. Would be their second podium, I believe, for G-Force Racing if they can stay there. But they've got a lot of work to do. Nice cutback there from Jakob, trying to find a way through on the McLaren there. We'll wonder how long these mediums will, these soft tyres will hang on for E36 Goat. Suzuka eats soft tyres for breakfast. Jakob trying to find a way through as they come through Spoon. No way through for Jakob now. And the back end of the McLaren steps out. The Mercedes steps out as they get on the curve and the power. That's bringing M. Dorling into play here behind our championship winner from season 4. M. Dorling's come right back into this race after what was a pretty disastrous first half, and indeed not the best of qualifying for them, but they're certainly limiting the damage right now. E36 Goat, remember, carrying a time penalty in front of them. Battle at the front this time. The Williams of Jaguar and E36 Goat in the McLaren. As E36 Goat now gets through into third place. Jaguar slots back in behind him. They're dragging Jakob from what was looking like a clear victory for them early on. Keep in mind, folks, Marcelinki is 3 seconds out clear in the lead of this race. So after we thought they had some kind of really lost out from their early pit stop, is now leading this race from 3 seconds from Obo. And this battling between E36, Jaguar, Jakob and M. Dorling really helping Marcelinki to stretch away. As the Williams of Jaguar looks to go down the east side of the McLaren. It can't make that work. That's opening the door for Jakob to come through. M. Dorling thinks they might sniff an opportunity, but drops back in behind the Mercedes, looking for a better chance to get through and make their way up the order. E36 not able to, they look as though go a bit wide there through Spoon Curve. So now we've got Jaguar right on the rear end of the McLaren. Jakob trying to find a way through. Will there be a move into the chicane? Heavy braking as our drivers navigate their way through on these. Oh, and that's the McLaren in. Wow. Okay, that's a last-minute move, but necessary to get off of those soft tyres for E36 Goat. It's not been working for them. Jakob, can they find a way through on the Williams? No way through for Jakob. They'll slot back in behind Jaguar, and they'll go again. M. Dorling now bides their time, seeing if there's a way through. And don't be surprised if the championship comes down to a battle of Marcelinki, Obo, M. Dorling and Jakob, with a few others thrown into the mix. I know Emerge KDs will be back. Ghosty will be back with points to prove in the G-Force Racing League. Our top 9 drivers here just need to finish. They're going to get points here today. Well, that's a late move from Jakob into the hairpin. Has got alongside Jaguar. Will they give that position back, I wonder? It was a very late overtaking manoeuvre. I think that's a McLaren stricken E36 Goat. They are back up and running. They were the ones to cause the yellow flag, and Jaguar and Jakob. And we've got a wheel-to-wheel between Jakob and M. Dorling now. M. Dorling will have the outside for 130R, and Jakob will have the inside. Will we go wheel-to-wheel through there? No, we won't. Jakob thinks better of going through there at full speed. That's moved M. Dorling up into 4th. Jakob has to settle back into 5th. Jaguar doing a very good job of holding on to 4th place here. We may as well ride on board with Jakob as Jaguar tries to break the slipstream. M. Dorling's going round and through easily on Jaguar. Jaguar holds up Jakob So Jakob desperately needed to get through to stop M. Dorling scampering off into the distance. Jakob needs to make a move on the Williams as quickly as they can, with only 3 more laps after this one to go, folks. This will be over in no time. Marcelinki 4 seconds clear of Obo on their debut with the G-Force Racing Elite League here on a Wednesday. Looks like it's going to be the perfect start for them. Obo in second, well clear of their teammate of M. Dorling, and M. Dorling is doing their best to get away from the Williams. Jakob cannot find a way through on Jaguarpur. They have cleared off from Gio, who's now back in 6th place. Then a gap from Gio down to Emil. Then E36 go having gone for that pit, and then Spiralex also. Spiralex may well be going for fastest lap. Still that 1 second, that extra point away for them and for McLaren. As Jakob now goes for it through on Jaguarpur. The defence of Jaguarpur is over. And Jakob can now think about setting after M. Dorling. But bear in mind that Jaguarpur is now going to have DRS on the Mercedes. Will Jaguarpur try and repay the favour on our reigning champion? Well, Jakob's going to do the opposite. They're through on M. Dorling, up into 3rd now. And so M. Dorling has to think about doing it all again. Jaguarpur's medium tyres very old now, and they've been battling super hard here. So congratulations to them, M. Dorling and Jakob, giving us some brilliant wheel-to-wheel action. But Jakob now leads from M. Dorling, and it looks as though it's going to be a fight for 3rd place. But it looks like victory is going to be going, barring some kind of absolute catastrophe, to Marcelinki for Red Bull. Then Obo there 4 seconds back, and then comes Jakob. 3-second penalty for Emil. It's sadly going to disadvantage them towards the end of this race. All those penalties get added on at the end. I'll show you folks what those penalties are. It's just 3 seconds, so it's Gio, Emeleki, E36 Go and Spiralex all carrying 3 seconds. Do not be surprised to hear about some potential additional penalties to be applied later on, folks. There's been some very close racing here. We've got another yellow flag. Was that? That was Gio. So Gio really struggling. Yeah, so I can see the FIA being a little bit busy after today's race. But it has given us some great entertainment here for the opening race of the season. Jakob goes fastest, a 130.08 far. We'll keep an eye out for Spiralex on those soft tyres to see if they can get into the 129s. Jakob was purple in sectors 1 and 2, so they're absolutely flying. Jakob has already broken the DRS to M. Dorling, so Jakob certainly has some pace in reserve, but they really have got to go some. I cannot see them closing down at 4 seconds to Obo. So the fight really now is between M. Dorling and Jaguarpur for 4th place, but M. Dorling has definitely limited the damage from the start of this race. We've got some switch of positions here. Emil is going for fastest lap with 1 lap left to go. They'll give it a go, see if they can still fastest lap away from Jakob. That 130.084 is the time to beat. I think Spiralex was going a touch faster in sector 1. We'll see if that comes through on our timing screens. M. Dorling is being pushed here by Jaguarpur. They have not got away as quickly as they would have liked by any means. So Jaguarpur still looking pretty racy here as we're about to start the final lap of the race. We're going to stay with these two because that's really where the remaining battling is going to be. We're going to keep an eye on Emil's time as well as they look to try and set fastest lap on some brand new medium tyres. But M. Dorling and Jaguarpur is the closest fight for points finishing positions. We'll follow this to very nearly towards the end. We will give Marcelinki the final shout unless it gets super close here. But it is with the front end of Jaguarpur stuck to the gearbox of the Aston Martin of M. Dorling on the final lap of this race. 27 laps, which took a while to get going. Was a little bit crazy at the beginning, settled down in the middle part of the race, and then got super crazy after that safety car. Has gradually sorted itself out. Jaguar Paul looking to find 4th place if they possibly can. But Marcelinki is rounding the spoon curve. We'll be heading down towards 130R. And we'll get up to Marcel because we should give them the honour on their debut race here with the Elite League. He's going to come over to take victory in Suzuka. A maximum points for them in race 1. And he's going to put them top of the standings. Marcelinki wins in Suzuka. Obo is going to come through, although I think we've got some drama. Obo's going to come through in 2nd. Jakob's going to come home in 3rd. Jaguar Paul is going to come over in 4th, but I did see an Aston Martin having strife in at the approach to the final chicane there. I'm sure there's going to be lots to talk about in the drivers' chat and in the FIA after today. But M. Dorling, very tight battle with Jaguar Paul. Looks as though they've lost out provisionally from that. Jaguar Paul came home in 4th. M. Dorling eventually in 5th. And Gio has finished in 6th. We've got Emil setting the fastest lap, a 129.373. Indeed, David T in the Twitch chat. Yeah, I think we're going to be busy, my friend. I think we are. Well, that's a lot of talking to be doing. The game is given E36 GOAT driver of the day. If you're watching along with me here, who would you give it to? Would you agree with the game? E36 GOAT as driver of the day for you. I am going to give it to Marcelinki, winning on their debut. What looked like a pretty strong drive and recovering from what seemed like difficulties in that mid-race pit stop. But come through, took advantage of the safety car, stayed out, and a comfortable victory for them and for Red Bull. So huge congratulations to Marcelinki, my driver of the day here. If you disagree or you've got a different opinion, do let me know. There's 1 or 2 other candidates out there. Obo, pretty decent drive for them, also finishing in 2nd, considering they've also had a drive-through penalty in that race as well. So very good drive from Obo. Jakob there in 3rd, does get their account opened at least for Season 5, as does Jaguar Paul in 4th. M. Dorling finishing in 5th after what can only be described as a very tough race for them. Gio finishing in 6th. Then came Emelecki, who picked up an extra point for fastest lap, a 129.373 right on the very last lap. Then came Spiralex and E36 GOAT, both for McLaren. Spiralex going very, very well in the first half of that race. Unfortunately, couldn't keep that going right the way to the end. Emerge KDs and Goat Ghosty are 2 DNFs from today. Well, that race was full of entertainment, and we should definitely go back and look at the replay, folks, a little bit later on, because I'm sure there's a whole bunch of stuff we did not see that went on in that one. And that is round 1, folks, of the GeForce Racing League Season 5. Not the race I anticipated us having, in all honesty, but it was certainly entertaining. And we have a new race winner in the league, the Elite League, in the form of Marcelinki. And we'll see how they can go next time out, where we're going to be in China. So this time, next week, we are going to be in Shanghai. A very chaotic race, the very first time out in Season 1, where we had a few gate crashes as SS7 was getting used to setting up these league races, but the actual eventual race was an absolute cracker. I think this track is a little bit of a favourite for some of our drivers, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Jaguar Paul and Jakob go very, very well there, plus a few others as well. Just going to have a quick look at the drivers chat to see if I can let you in on any conversations that may be going on. No tickets yet, by the way, David T, but keep your eye on the Discord server. I think it's going to get pretty busy. All right, let's see. I can see the McLarens are still online, so I'm going to head into the McLaren garage one last time and say hello to Spiralex and E36 Goat as we've now finished the race. They may well have dashed off to get some refreshment. Are you both still there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Spiralex, you had some real pace in the first half of that race. And then
Yeah.
did you have a moment, some kind of coming together after the safety car?
Yeah, I don't know what happened after that. Like I spun out of the hairpin, and then like everything went downhill. I don't know why.
Oh yeah, we were watching you with interest. You had some real pace. So, well, congratulations on what looked like it was going to be a very promising drive. But if you can take that pace into future rounds, I think you'll do very well. Did you enjoy it though? That's probably the most important question.
Yeah, it was very fun.
Well, it's great to have you with us. So congratulations on that. And at least you got some points on the board, as indeed does your teammate. Daddy, Tonk, was a bit of a gamble going on to those softs?
I mean, to be fair, at the start, I had a good start and everything else. I mean, I had the 10-second penalty anyway for obviously speeding in the pit lane. So, and then obviously I spoke to my teammate over the mic and then come together on a joint decision. And then, I tried to get up as far as I could, and then I picked up a bit of damage. And then, unfortunately, it dropped me down the order. I think overall my race pace was very good, but, it's just at the end of the day, it's potluck.
It is. Well, yeah, I think you both had some good pace there, and I think I look forward to seeing this McLaren team develop through the rest of the season. I think this could well be a strong team to watch. But congratulations both on points today, at least. And will you both be back for China next week?
Yep, I will be
I
back.
think so.
Great stuff. All right. Well, thank you both for talking to me. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you for the next one.
Thanks, Mark.
See
Take
ya.
care.
Well, thank you to E36 Goat and to Spiralex. You'll note I keep referring to E36 Goat as Daddy Tonk. I think we just affectionately know them as that. That was their original EA ID, and it's kind of stuck with me. I do see M. Dorling and Obo are still online, so I will go into the Aston Martin garage one more time to say hello to them both. Are you both still there?
Here. We're not home.
Hello.
You're not there.
Hello.
Okay. I'll leave you. Well, Obo, that was what a great result considering the drive-through and everything else that went on. Second place, you've got to be pleased with that.
I've got to be lucky with that. Yeah.
Well, it worked out. You have to play what's in front of you. So
You're not wrong.
Yeah, no, that worked out. That worked out well for you. And Matt, I suppose you're probably reasonably happy with that finish in the end, were you not? After what was looking like a pretty disastrous race, is that damage limited?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We saw a very good
I
fight
had
between you and Jakob and Jaguar Paul. How was it from your perspective?
Well, it was hard enough to keep the car kind of going in a straight line with all the floor damage that I had. So I was just trying not to delete either of those two at the same time.
Were you just?
That was good though.
about
No, I can't complain at all because considering what was probably the most eventful race I've ever had at GFR, I would say I've got to be happy with the result for sure.
Yeah, most eventful. That's an understatement. I'm going to be interested to watch the stream back later. And I think the FIA, as we were talking about in commentary, is probably going to be a bit busy this week.
Yeah.
But
Good luck.
yes,
luck.
but we'll see. We'll see. No, congratulations both. Points on the board for Aston Martin, and not too bad ones at that, considering
Absolutely.
the troubles you both had. So have a great week, and we'll see you for the next one.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay.
All right, thank you to them. I see Jakob is in the Mercedes garage, so we're going to go and have one last chat to our Season 4 champion. Jakob, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
All right, so that looked like a pretty tough second half of the race for you.
Yeah.
We only caught a glimpse of it, I think, on the stream, but looked like a pretty strong defence from Gio into turn 3. How did you see it?
I mean, we are side by side, and then he just wipes me out like Ricardo in 2024 in Japan.
I love the reference. I've got to give you credit for that one. First half of the race, though, it looked like a really good battle between you and Marcelinki. They looked so Marcel lost a lot of time in the pit stop. Do you know? Did you see what happened there, or were they behind you when you came in?
Yeah, I saw what happened there. When we came to the, I don't know what's the turn called, but the slow right-hander.
Yeah.
He went on the grass and spun.
Ah, okay, that answers that
But he
question.
quickly recovered.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, yeah, and then but then it seemed to go backwards for you after that.
Yeah, I mean, Williams. Won't,
Williams, okay.
Won't say anything more here.
Okay.
Everything will be in the ticket. But
Yeah, no, that's fine. We'll
I'm not
leave
happy
that
with-
to others to look at. No, great stuff. Well, you did at least, if I get this right, you did finish on the podium.
yeah, P3.
Yeah, okay. So not too bad at the end of the day, but like you say, you're probably hoping for more. Will you be back for China next week? You quite like China, don't you?
Yeah, I love China, and I will for sure be back there
Great stuff.
with
Okay.
much more pace and much more practice than this race. I did 1 hour before the race, few
Okay.
time trials. Yeah, you too, mate. You too. Bye bye.
Oh, it looks as though you guys lost my audio for a while there, so hopefully you heard from Jakob. But you would have lost me briefly there. So yes, not suffice to say, there's quite a lot of chat in the drivers' chat about events through today's race. Come back and join us next week, and I'll bring you fully up to speed with everything that's been discussed and the outcomes of all of that as we prepare for the next round of GeForce Racing Elite League in China. But before that, I believe we will have an Ironman this coming Sunday. So if you're interested in taking part in the GeForce Racing League but can't race on a Wednesday but are available on a Sunday, every 2 weeks on a Sunday we have the Ironman League, which is a 100% race. We only find out about the track moments before the race is about to get underway. There's usually some random weather attached to it as well. And we only get one shot qualifying. And you get to race against all the folks you saw here, plus me. So do come and be part of that. I'm hoping my teammate David T will be back and we'll have a full Sauber team out next time for the Ironman. But if you can't make that, come and join us next Wednesday, 8 p.m. We'll be live here on M1 Racing to bring you the next round of the GeForce Racing League from China. Until then, have a great week ahead. Thanks for being here with us. Thank you to my drivers and for talking to me throughout today's race. And thank you to you for watching. See you all very, very soon. Bye for now.